Hey guys, welcome to No Filters, Just Freedom, the show for people who are ready to stop shrinking, start rising, and live with unapologetic audacity. My name is Jasmine, I'm a life coach, and I'm here to guide us all through this journey of bold, authentic living. Welcome back to No Filters, guys. Do you ever feel exhausted by constant noise? The outrage headlines, the social media arguments, the friend who always has a new crisis? We live in a noise factory, and it can feel like the whole world is addicted to drama. Well, today we're cutting through the chaos to talk about how to protect your peace, reclaim your attention, and find genuine freedom from the drama cycle. We're going to talk about the most powerful word you can learn in this environment: no. We're starting a quiet, intentional rebellion to reclaim our focus, our creativity, and our freedom. So, first, we need to talk about some things we need to choose to opt out of, things we need to just learn to say no from. The first is outrage culture, which is the pressure to have a performatively angry take on every global event. You do not have to be angry about everything happening in this world. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot happening. It's very extreme, it's very divisive, it's very overwhelming, but you don't have to be angry about it, nor do you have to vocalize that anger. You just don't have to. For some things, it's actually unnecessary. And all you're doing is draining your peace. All you're doing is causing more problems and intention and everything else that needs to go forward. It's stressful, it's overwhelming, it's unnecessary. Okay? Another thing you can say no to is digital drama. This is a hard one for me. Okay? Digital drama is the addictive pull to online arguments and the comment section in your battles. Look, I get it. As someone that's building their business, as someone that does a lot of things on social media, whether it is my podcast, my TikTok availabilities, my book, everything that I have on YouTube, whatever else, people always either like or feel the need to comment on what's going on in my stuff. And you feel the constant need to respond, especially when they're coming against you. Oh, you didn't understand my post. Oh, you don't like the way my post looks. Oh, you're not a fan of how this came across and you feel like I should verbalize it different. There's always going to be something that somebody's saying about you that you feel like you need to respond to. And it creates drama. And guess what? You don't have to. And I have to tell myself that every day. I don't have to. Okay? I'm in the same boat as you guys. We can opt out of digital drama. The last thing we can say no to is real life gossip and emotional vampirism, okay? Which is the drain of engaging in other people's constant crisis and gossip. All right? People always have stuff to say. We have that friend. Everybody has that friend who every time you pick up the phone, all hell is breaking loose. Every time their life is going to hell in a handbasket. And the truth is, you might look at that situation and think it's not that deep. That's the real kicker. You might look at their situation and go, bruh, you are making this bigger than it is. But they're still drawing from you. They're still pulling your emotions. They're still trying to make you an emotional sounding board of what should happen and what do I do? And everything is so intense and da-da-da-da-da. And it's on 10 and it's actually draining you of what you have to give to the rest of the world. You can say no to that. It is possible, okay? Saying no to these things is a fight to remove yourself from things because they create a vicious cycle in our brains. Okay, this is the vicious cycle. The release of cortisol for stress and dopamine is actually a reward for overcoming that gives us the cycle of alertness and engagement. Okay, that's how that works. We see the issue, we get overwhelmed by the issue, and cortisol is released because we're stressed about the issue. And then we find a reward for how to overcome that issue, and dopamine is released, and then everything is happy. And there's this constant cycle of stress to happy, to stress, to overcoming, to stress, to overcoming. It just keeps going, and it's alertness and engagement. And then when we add on social and cultural reinforcement, it feels like the ultimate uphill battle. Okay? So it's not just our lives that are telling us that. It's what's going on social media. It's what's going on in the world. And oh my gosh, this is a crisis and I need to overcome it. And then I find a good way of overcoming it on being on the right side of social media. And so I feel good about it. And then another crisis happens and I'm stressed and I need to respond. And here you go with the perpetual cycle. And probably the biggest hurdle is dealing with the truth that we often focus on external drama to avoid our own internal discomfort and unresolved issues. So we're out here stressing and going through these unresolved things in the outside world. What's going on with these things, and this person died and this person treated this country the way, and X, Y, and Z. And we're all invested in that because we don't want to deal with actually going on in the practical of our own personal lives. Okay, let's be real. It's easier to be angry about a celebrity scandal than it is to be sad about something in our own lives. It's easiest to worry about what's going on with this person and that person who has millions of dollars and who's doing what than it is to actually sit in the frustration and the sadness and the bitterness that's actually in our own lives. Drama can be a great distraction from our own selves, but there are dangerous costs to consuming chaos and the loss of focus. Okay, the first dangerous cost is the psychological toll it takes on all of us. Okay, there's a cognitive overload that we face when we choose to focus on chaos instead of what's going on in our lives. Okay, our brains weren't built to process a global crisis before breakfast. That's not how that works. You don't wake up and look at your phone and see social media and go, Lord, it happened. Okay, a primary example of just how your brain isn't wired for it. You woke up one day, you were minding your business, and Charlie Kirk died. And now you're trying to process what this means for the world, and your brain is happening, and you might not have even started your day. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Maybe you were ending your day and you were trying to wind down and you couldn't. Your brain was not built to process those things. Okay. And these things become a memory theft because we have weakened our cognitive muscles. We have told ourselves that we have to strain ourselves in these things and we have to focus on these external issues and we have to handle all these things before handling the real things in our life. Okay. Food, work, bills, family, the things that really matter. We're not actually focusing on those. We're focusing on what's going on in the outside world and what we're going to say about it. Okay. And then the psychological toll that it also takes when you're consuming this chaos in the outside world, because the world is chaos, is it's a creativity killer. Okay? There's this constant interruption that shatters what could be a deep work. All right? Me personally, I'm writing another book. Okay? Now, truth be told, I can take as long as I want on this other book. I don't have a publisher breathing down my neck. I don't have any other reason to just be overwhelmed or whatever else. I can do it on my own time. But the energy that I could have to put into this can get easily distracted by what's happening in our lives and what's going on in the real world. I could knock out an entire chapter today, but I'm too busy worrying about what happened on the Gaza Strip. That does not mean the Gaza Strip isn't important. That just means it distracted me from what's actually happening. Okay? That's just the reality of the situation. I could be working on an outline and finding different ways to extrapolate a thought that I have for this book or for my life or for a podcast. I could be doing a podcast outline and I can get distracted because, Prince Henry went back to England and he's supposed to talk with his daddy and then he didn't, and we don't know what his wife is doing at home, and then he's supposed to take another trip to somewhere. It's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole I could easily go down, but I don't have to. But it's easily distracting and it takes away my creativity. Okay? It prevents us from entering a state of flow where our best ideas are born. Okay? It creates stagnation. I don't have an ability to let my thought process go, to let my creativity flow, to let all of these things happen. I'm too busy worrying about the outside world that has nothing to do with what I'm dealing with. Okay. And just as much as it takes a psychological toll, it takes an emotional toll. Okay. It creates anxiety. And that's something we all experience, whether you want to admit it or not. When stuff starts happening in the world and it's a lot, you get overwhelmed, you get anxious, okay? The world seems to be perpetually on fire. It's just always, it's one thing or another. It's just everything in our lives is going to hell in a handbasket, okay? It's just going and we can't stop it. And we don't know what to do about it. And it causes us anxiety. Okay, there's this constant semi-low grade stress of constant switching. Okay, like you kind of just, you wake up every morning and you go, what am I going to find out today? Sure, I can live my life and everything's going to be fine, but I have this constant, thing in the back of my chest that's like, it's all going to go downhill from here. It causes serious anxiety on our emotions, the chaos that exists in the world, okay? Also, the anxiety that we feel when we're trying to finish something in the chaos of the world and we're still trying to maintain ourselves, it can create a feeling of truly unfinished things or satisfied. I'm never satisfied. I never get my stuff done. I'm never focused on what I said I was going to be focused on because I'm too busy worrying about what's going on in the world. And then I look at what I was supposed to be doing for the day and it's not done. And now I'm disappointed in myself, okay? There's a lack of emotional presence with our real world. It's hard to be emotionally present in chaos. It's hard to be emotionally present in the real world, but more importantly, it's hard to be present in our actual relationships. So not only am I not present in my real life and what's going on, but I'm not present in my relationships. Maybe I might be there physically, but mentally, I'm still scrolling through my feed. I'm still thinking about what's going on TikTok. I'm still thinking about what I saw on Instagram or what I watched on the news today. I'm still focused on that, but I'm not sitting at the dinner table with my family, actually focused on what's being spoken, okay? You end up bringing secondhand drama and creating unnecessary conflict and distance. Hey, I was supposed to have dinner with my family. Maybe you're good, maybe you're not. Maybe you're looking to start a conversation, but the problem is your mind is already on other things. So you say things like, well, have you seen what's going on with ... in the world? Now all of a sudden you create a family drama. All of a sudden now everybody's got an opinion and folks gonna get their feelings hurt, all because you asked a question that you had no business asking. Because you brought in secondhand drama that you had, okay? It's unnecessary and it creates conflict and distance. When you realize that we're all together, but you're really alone. You thought you were where you were supposed to be, but you're really alone. And then it also takes a physical toll, okay? There's chronic stress that can manifest as sleep issues, fatigue, and tension. You want to know why you can't go to bed at night? You want to know why you wake up with back pain and issues? Outside of the fact that, you hit 30 and you feel old, outside of that, you want to know why you're overwhelmed? It's because you're taking on internally what's happening in the chaos externally, okay? There's an inability of the body to function at its optimal capacity, okay? It's not built to take on these things. When the outside drama holds our attention, we become shells of ourselves. We become weakened version of our outside selves, and we have to fight to strengthen ourselves again. So how do we do this? How do we strengthen ourselves when the world and life and everything else that we've consumed chaotically is trying to come for us? The first thing you have to do is create a digital sanctuary, okay? And this is important because we live our lives on our phone. We live our lives on the computer. We live our lives digitally, okay? The first thing you need to do is create a sanctuary. You curate your feed ruthlessly, okay? You start muting, you start unfollowing, you start blocking without guilt, okay? You're like, you cause me pain, gone. You cause me drama, gone. You make me feel inadequate, gone, okay? Your feed is what you bring into your home, and you need to evict that trash. That's the truth. That's the reality of how this works, okay? You are what you take in, and you don't have to take in stupidity. You don't have to take in aggressiveness. You don't have to take in chaos. And it's time to step back and take control of our reality of what we're looking at. And what you're looking at is a whole mess, and you're bringing in mess to your family. I can't afford to have my feed be crazy. I have a whole husband and a whole child. What do I look like bringing in chaos to my 2-year-old? She's already chaotic. Anybody that has a parent will understand my 2-year-old is chaotic. I don't need to add to that situation. I have to be very clear about what I bring to the table. Mute, unfollow, block. Lose no sleep. Okay? Then, if you're not able to mute and unfollow and block, sometimes you just got to delete the app. I know that seems extreme. I know that seems like it's a lot, but sometimes that's what you got to do. Okay. Sometimes you have to remove addictive apps. Sometimes you have to just say, you know what? This isn't for me. I'm not saying that I am a huge proponent of getting rid of Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever else is your app. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying if you notice that your life is a mess every time you look at your feed and you don't have the capability of muting it, you might need to just delete it. You might need to just go extreme. If that's causing you that much pain and stress and strife, it's gotta go, okay? You sometimes have to just declutter your homepage because you have this automatic tendency to look at your homepage on your phone and click on things. Get rid of it. Make it an active effort to go find it, because sometimes we're lazy enough to where if it's an active effort, we won't go find it. Okay? And then turn off notifications. Get rid of all the non-essential notifications. Just, I don't need to see this from this news feed. I don't need to wake up every morning and see this. If I click on it, I'll read it. But if I don't, I don't need to wake up every morning and see this scrolling on my home feed before I turn on the lock on my iPhone. I don't need to see that. Okay? You can use do not disturb, focus, or personal modes. I use that thing all the time. Sometimes it frustrates my friends and my family because they try to contact me, but my phone's on personal and you can't get to me. Because I'm trying to take a moment in time for myself and not let the chaos of the world come in. Use those features. Use what you can do to make sure that you create a separation between what's going on in the world and what you bring into your life. Okay? Reclaim your attention. And sometimes you also have to create physical separation. All right? And sometimes what that looks like is at night, charge your phone in a different area. Okay, sometimes my favorite thing is to use a short cord instead of one of the long cords we have. So I'll use a very short charging cord and I'll have to put that thing on a desk or a dresser on the other side of the bed. So the amount of effort that it takes for me to get out of the bed and check my phone is what I don't have at 10 o'clock at night. So my phone is just charging over there in the corner, which means I don't see the notifications, which means I don't hear the pings, which means the only thing that I'm going to hear is my alarm going off in the morning. And you know what? If I don't hear my alarm, so be it. My 2-year-old will wake me up. That's what you do. Create separation. Do things like no phones at the dinner table. Okay? Or leave it at a drawer at work. Separate yourself from the thing that can cause you chaos. You also want to create a mental filter, okay? We have a physical filter, but you want to create a mental filter. Create a 24-hour rule. Wait before engaging in a hot topic issue. Is it something that's important, or is it a fad that only lasts 10 minutes? Okay? Does it really demand my energy? Does the mob move on? Okay? This is a big deal now, but in 24 to 36 hours, is it still there? Think about things like who benefits from this. You have a who benefits test. Am I benefiting from this? And am I benefiting from being outraged and distracted right now? Or is someone else? Because the truth is, when you look at TikTok and Instagram and other things, sometimes the algorithm and the advertisers are actually benefiting from being overwhelmed. They're benefiting from you clicking and scrolling and being like, oh, I'm into this and I'm going to go to the next thing and I'm going to click on the next thing. And they know exactly what you're looking for. And so now they know what to curate for you. And now they know what to distract you and bring from your attention. And now it's really hard for you to put your phone down. Now it's hard for you to create a digital sanctuary because they've got you at this point. And you got to decide, is this really important? Create a 24-hour rule. Okay? Then decide what you want to consume versus contribute to, okay? You can read the news and stay informed, but you're not obligated to post a hot take on it. You don't have to if you don't want to. Yes, the world seems to want your opinion, and it's that people will appreciate your opinion, but that doesn't mean you have to give it. No one needs to know what you're thinking. And I mean that in the sense of no one needs it. People can appreciate it, but you don't have to give it. And if you're not in a mental space to give it, then don't, okay? It's also time to reclaim your brain. Take time to separate things. Create a time block, okay? Assign a specific amount of time for emails and social media and deep work. Say, I'm only going to be on social media from 1 to 1:30. Hey, I'm only going to check my emails from 2 to 3. Anything that happens outside of that, I'm not doing it. Or maybe say, I'm cutting off my work emails at 5:30. I will not respond to a work email before 9 in the morning. It's not happening. I won't do it. Okay? And then you protect these blocks fiercely. Okay? If I look at a situation and say, I'm going to do work on my book from 5 to 6, I have to protect that fiercely. And it's hard. Sometimes my husband, who is gone for 24-hour periods, wants to do family things on the day he's off. And I'm trying to take time on the day he's off to do things I can't do when I'm quote unquote a single parent. And he's like, let's go to the park. Of course I want to go to the park with him. Of course I want to go to the park with my 2-year-old. But what I know is that if I don't do this now, it won't get done for another 5 days. And it's going to put me behind. So sometimes I have to look at them and go, hey, I told myself I was going to do this. I told myself I was going to write this part of the book. I told myself I was going to record this podcast at this time. And I have to maintain that boundary. And sometimes it's hard and sometimes it hurts, but you gotta do it, okay? Sometimes you just also need to sit with your thoughts for 5 minutes, okay? Don't look at your phone while you're in line to get food. Don't worry about all these other things that's happening. Just be silent for 5 minutes. It'll create essential mental maintenance, okay? You have a chance to reboot, reload, just stop worrying about things that at the end of the day don't really matter. And while you're doing this, sometimes you got to think of a replacement rule, okay? So if you stop a habit, you have to replace it with something else, okay? So if you're like, I'm not going to scroll on my phone, okay, read a book, watch a TV show you've been mentioning, watch a movie you really were intentional about watching, hang out with your family, do dinner, something else. You have to replace it. Schedule leisure so it's, contained, but doesn't bleed into everything else. Hey, at this time, I'm going to binge the show I'm meaning to watch. But after it hits this time period, I can't watch it anymore. I gotta go. I'm gonna finish this episode and I gotta get out. This is the time block you create, and you have to protect that time block, okay? And then you need to, lastly, but definitely not leastly, set and hold boundaries, okay? Identify the drama magnets in your life, the people, the things that just draw you in and create drama in life, and then politely disengage. You do not have to set things up. You do not have to be a part of them, okay? You can look at people and say, I'm not able to hold space for this right now. Okay, you can be like, you know what? I don't have this in me right now. You know what? That sounds really tough. We're going through it and I'm really sorry. What are you gonna do about it? That's what that looks like. That looks like a situation where you're like, hey, I thought that I had the capacity for this, but I actually don't. What are you gonna do about it? Because actually at the end of the day, it's not your problem. It's their problem and they're just talking to you about it. I don't have to take this on. That's their problem, okay? Then you can answer the question as a listener, okay? I love you, but I also need to set this boundary. I hear what you're saying. I appreciate what you're saying, but I also need to set this boundary. I can't be a sounding board for news anxiety right now. I don't have the space. I don't have the mental capacity. I don't have the emotional stamina to talk about all the hell that's going on in this world. So let's talk about something good. Let's talk about a positive thing that's happening instead. That's how you set a boundary. That's how you hold a boundary. Hey, I'm not capable of hearing bad news right now, so let's talk about the positive things that's happened today. You change the subject. And moreover, one of the most important things that people don't understand, but it's a really important lesson to learn, is that there is power in silence. It's okay to be quiet. Not every comment requires a response. I know that's counterintuitive. I know that culture doesn't tell you that, but I'm saying not everything requires a response. A simple, okay, is a complete answer. You don't have to add more. You don't if you don't want to. Don't let them trick you and distract you into thinking that you need more of a comment. You just don't have to. And I promise you, it's freeing as mess when you do that. This isn't about building a wall around yourself or living like technology doesn't exist. It's about installing a filter and using technology with intention. You let in what serves you and you let the rest pass you by. Freedom is the space between notification and your response. The goal is to widen that space, okay? So what do you gain when you reclaim this space? What is the worth of regaining that space? Okay, you can create deep presence. There's a joy in being fully immersed in a conversation, a meal, or a moment. All of a sudden, you're actually present for the people that are actually in your life. You're no longer worried about what's happening on a phone or what's happening on a screen or what's happening on all these people on the other side of the world. You're focused on the people that are directly in front of you, okay? You have the energy for things that actually matter. That's a big deal. I can actually give to the things that are permanently in my life, not things that are going to go away in 24 hours. You also have authentic productivity. Okay, this is the thing that I was talking about when your mental space goes away and you lose your creativity. There's a deep satisfaction of completing meaningful work without constant interruption. Again, hey, I love you. I'm setting this boundary. I need to record this. I can enjoy the recording. I can feel good about the recording. I can feel good about the fact that I did this podcast and I'm reaching people. And I know it's hard and I know it's painful, but it brings a satisfaction of knowing I finally completed something, okay? You can also hear your own thoughts again. My thoughts aren't filled with whatever's going on social media and whatever the world is telling me and whatever this friend that has all these problems and anxiety. I don't have to hear that in my head. I can hear my own personal thoughts clearly. And that leads into the most importantly, you have clarity and calmness. Okay, there's a reduction in anxiety when your brain isn't being pulled in 10 different directions. There's a peace there. There's an understanding there. There's a flow there of where I'm not taking on and holding space for things that were not meant for me to hold. And my brain is happy with me for that, okay? There's an ability to hold complex and non-binary views on issues without needing to perform. I can hear them, I can understand them, and I can intellectually take them in, but I do not emotionally have to make them my problem. The truth is, the conversations with others that becomes deeper when they're not about the latest outrage headline. Okay, you can have deep, meaningful conversations that are not about the latest headline. Your opting out is not opting out of care. Okay, that's a crucial nuance. It's not just because you choose to opt out doesn't mean you stop caring. Okay, this isn't about apathy. It's about choosing where to place your precious intention and energy effectively. You are deeply about human rights, and you can still refuse to argue with a stranger in your DMs. In fact, you actually have more energy for meaningful action. You can actually do something in public. You can actually make a deeper response. You can do a lot of things because you're not arguing with somebody on the other side of the country. You can opt out but still care. The truth is, this is a rebellion that isn't fought with weapons, but with choices. It's the choice to look up. It's the choice to put things down. It's the choice to be here in the now, not with other people, but right here in the present. Your action is the signature of your essence. It's the most valuable thing you own, and literally your life moment by moment. That's what your attention is, your life moment by moment. Every time you give it away without intention, you're giving away a piece of your freedom. And choosing where to place your attention is the highest form of self-respect, and it gives you the most peace. And again, choosing peace is the most radical act in the world, in a world that profits from your panic. Okay? It doesn't mean you don't care. You're still invested in what's going on, but it actually means that you care enough to show up with clarity and compassion, not burnout and bitterness. I actually have a good thought to say. I actually have something that I curated and I'm aware of, but still maintain my personal boundaries. Your peace is your power, so protect it fiercely. So this week, I challenge you to act on an act of non-participation, okay? Note and remove one toxic account. Leave a group chat that's just drama. Or leave your phone at home during a walk. Take a walk outside and put your phone down, okay? When you hear a debate starting, whether it's online, whether it's in your face, when you hear the debate, simply don't engage. You can just listen, hear other people's opinions, but you don't have to speak. Notice the relief. Sit in the quiet. Notice the freedom. And I want you to tell me about it. DM me on TikTok at lifecoach_Jasmine or on Instagram at breathe_easy_coaching, because I want to celebrate your small act of defiance. It's a big deal. Join the rebellion. Defy what culture tries to tell us about the chaos. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with one other person who needs a little more peace. Remember, it's not about ignoring the world's problems, but solving them from a place of centered power, not reactive fear. Attention is power, so choose wisely how you use it. And until then, live intentionally and choose freedom. Remember, you don't need permission to be great, and this is your call to rise, to reclaim your power, and to step boldly into the life you were meant to live. I believe extraordinary potential lives in all of us. The dreams we've tucked away, the voice that was softened, and the fire that's been waiting to burn bright. This journey isn't about fitting into someone else's mold. It's about shattering expectations and embracing your truest, most unapologetic self. No more shrinking or waiting for permission. The world needs your brilliance, your resilience, and your unique light. It's time to stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start declaring, "I am more than enough." Your next chapter begins now. Let's write it with courage, audacity, and unshakable belief in who you are. The unstoppable person isn't born, they're awakened. And that person is you. Now go start your revolution. This world needs your unshaken light today.